We all hopefully know that the Holocaust was the killing of millions of Jewish people by the Nazis during World War II. That is what the Holocaust was. And by making this video, I am in no way claiming that lesbians were the true victims of the Holocaust, or that there's any suffering at the hands of Nazis comparable to what Jewish people experienced. Yes, the victims ranged from prisoners of war, physically and mentally disabled people, Jehovah's Witnesses, all non-European looking people, gypsies, anyone who didn't fit Hitler's vision of the master race. All of that is true, and LGBT people were absolutely among the victims, obviously, as that's what I'm going to talk about today. But I just want to make it clear that while there were other victims of the Holocaust besides Jewish people, the Holocaust was the mass genocide of some 6 million Jews. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about the other groups who were targeted. I just want to make it clear that I am in no way trying to overshadow or misrepresent what happened in the late 1930s to 1945. This is a video that was requested by someone in the comment section of another video a while ago, and it's a topic that I honestly had never really thought about, so that alone sent it right to the top of my list of lesbian mini history topics. As always, disclaimer, I'm not a historian, I didn't even study history in college, I'm just a small gay who wants to spread more knowledge and awareness about lesbian history, so that's what I'm doing. If you happen to be an expert on this subject or any of the topics that I discuss on this channel and hear something that I say that's incorrect, please feel free to comment below or message me and let us know what you know. But, you know, the sources that I've used are in the description box for this video, and I'm pretty confident that it's all accurate. So, without further ado, let's just get right to it. The word Holocaust comes from a combination of Greek words that mean whole and burned, and was historically used to describe a sacrificial offering that was burned on an altar. The mass genocide of some 6 million Jewish people and other targeted groups would not come to be referred to by that same term until around the 1960s, when scholars and popular writers started using it to refer to what had happened during World War II. And what really set it as the term that was widely known as being referred to what had happened during World War II was in 1978, a television miniseries came out that Meryl Streep was in. Important actor information. Meryl Streep was involved in this. But she was, and it came out in 1978, and the title of it was Holocaust, and it was about the Holocaust. So at that point, society was pretty much on board with using this word to describe the mass genocide that occurred during World War II. Among the groups of people being targeted by the Nazis for reasons other than their Jewish faith were homosexuals. It's estimated that up to 15,000 gay men were in prison during the Holocaust, and 60% of them died while they were detained. The Nazi Party saw gay men as effeminate and weak and unable to fight for the German nation. They also found them unlikely to reproduce, and anyone that inhibited Germany's reproductive potential was seen as a threat to the Nazi Party. In the early 1930s, pre-death camp stages of the Holocaust, the Nazi Party was burning literature on sexuality and anything else they deemed inappropriate. They shut down bars and clubs that were known to be popular LGBT spaces. They banned the publication of a couple of gay magazines. Essentially, they just drove the homosexual community underground by destroying their network of support. And while all this was going on, gay men began to be arrested more frequently because the police were using something called pink lists, which were just lists of names of people who were suspected to be homosexual men. On April 4th, 1938, the Gestapo issued a directive that men convicted of homosexuality could be sent to concentration camps. And by 1945, between 5,000 and 15,000 gay men were sent to concentration camps. Wait! Kat, I thought you said these episodes were going to be about gay women. Why are you only mentioning gay men? Weren't lesbians persecuted for their sexuality too? Actually, Nazis didn't see lesbians as threatening in the same way that they saw gay men. Women were regarded as passive and without their own sexuality. Throw back to my video on romantic friendships, where I talk about how lesbianism wasn't really seen as a valid thing because a woman wasn't sexual on her own. So, how could two women be sexual together? How could anything sexual be going on without a man involved? Also, it was a lot harder for Nazis to pick out gay women in the way they were picking out gay men because women have always been allowed to be more affectionate towards each other in public spaces, linking arms, holding hands, touching each other, whereas it's easier, it was, Nazis assumed when they saw a man walking down the street arm in arm with another man, he would go on the list of suspected homosexuals. But with women, you couldn't really do that because for some reason we decided that women are allowed to touch each other in public in friend ways. So it was harder for them to pick them out in the same ways. But at the end of the day, Nazis dismissed lesbianism as a state and social issue because they believed that a German woman, regardless of her sexuality, could carry out her primary goal as a German woman. She could mother as many Aryan babies as possible. She could do her duty to Germany. And for some reason they decided that gay men, even if they were of that Aryan master race, if they were gay, they couldn't carry out their duties to Germany. But lesbianism was seen as fixable, so they weren't really held to the same standards as far as like what's a crime and what wasn't. Lesbians absolutely experienced hardships during Hitler's reign. They just weren't persecuted for their sexuality in the way that gay men were. And this is all for German Aryan race appearing women. If you were Jewish or non-European looking or a gypsy or any of those other subcategories and a lesbian, you would have been a victim of the Holocaust. You just wouldn't have been a victim of the Holocaust because of your sexuality in the way that gay men were. Lesbians who were sent to concentration camps were put under the category of asocials. An asocial person in a concentration camp is someone who didn't follow the Nazi norms of society and was therefore sent to a concentration camp. Asocial prisoners wore black triangles. They were not homosexual prisoners. Homosexual prisoners were gay men, and they were in Nazi concentration camps because they were gay, and they wore pink triangles. So asocial, black triangles, people who didn't fit into the norms of society. Homosexual, pink triangles, people that were sent to camps because they were gay. So, lesbians, gay men. 130,000 women were sent through Ravensbrück Camp for Women with the label of asocial. This included prostitutes, political resistors, gypsies, lesbians, etc. There's a book by Sarah Helm on the life inside Ravensbrück with information she gathered from some survivors, and it mentions that some of the camp guards were lesbians who took the job because it gave them an opportunity to meet other gay women. Imagine being a guard at a concentration camp and having a lesbian affair with another guard at that concentration camp while you're working there, like, hurting women for being gay. I just can't. That's so disgusting. How could you sleep at night? Sarah Helm also says that homosexuality was common among the prisoners, and these are all women prisoners still. We're still talking about Ravensbrück. She says that homosexuality was common among the female prisoners, and that some of them even took on men's names, and that sexual interactions did occur from time to time in the tight sleeping quarters. So if you'd like to learn more about that, look into Sarah Helm's book. I'm bringing it up right now. Ravensbrück. I hope I'm saying that right. Life and Death in Hitler's Concentration Camp for Women. So that might be a good source for the person who requested this video in the first place. Something I learned about while researching this topic that really surprised me, because I had never heard of it before, was that some concentration camps had brothels. And I learned that women were taken from the Ravensbrück camp and forced into sexual slavery in these brothels in the other concentration camps. and that homosexual male prisoners were forced to use the brothels because it was thought that it would cure them of their homosexuality. And obviously the reverse is true of the lesbian prisoners who were forced to work in the brothels. They thought it would cure them of their sexual orientation. Most of the women forced into the brothels had a lifespan of about 6 months. Gay women who escaped internment because of their Aryan race usually tried to live as quiet a life as possible, marrying for safety or fleeing the country. And the Nazi regime really negatively impacted all women, honestly. It was very sexist. Women were to be mothers. They weren't paid anywhere near a living wage for the jobs that they were able to get, which really negatively affected lesbians as they were often without financial support from a husband. So combine financial difficulties with the constant fear of being discovered as gay, and it's really not a great time for lesbians or anyone, really, in 1940s Germany. It's just not a good time. Thank you so much for watching this week's, it's not really a weekly thing, but this lesbian mini history video. Thank you for watching. I promise my next topic is going to be super upbeat and fun, hopefully. But please like and subscribe, and check out the links below if you want to learn more about this topic, and have a great day.